keeping up with the pop culture theme, I also have chosen a book by a very important, influential individual who is inspiring many women, many families throughout America, throughout North America, throughout the world, really. Tonight, I will be reading I Just Want You to Know, Letters to My Kids on Love, Faith, and Family by Kate Gosselin.
I thought you were cleansing the palate.
So, I have read most of this book. It is absolutely hilarious for three reasons. I'm a comedian, and I think what I appreciate most about Kate Gosselin is that, number one, she's delusional. Number two, she hates her children. She tries really, really hard to love them, talk about how much she loves them, but it always slips out how much she fucking hates them. And number three, she's so stupid. Like, she's one of those people that just don't think through consequences at all. Like, it's mind-boggling. And so this book, basically, she has these chapters where she talks about her life and talks about, you know, the challenges she's gone through, and then interspersed throughout the book are letters, personal letters, to each of her children. Yeah, I know. I certainly, if I was to ever receive a letter from my mom, I would not want it to be in a book that millions of people throughout the world would be reading. And the best part about the letters is that she repeats the same thing over and over again. Like, literally, there are certain paragraphs that are just copied and pasted for every single child. And so another aspect of the book is that she's a bit of a Jesus freak. Like, she is a chosen person. Like, her and God have this relationship that is truly something else. So I'll just read you a bit from the chapter 4, Dear Jesus. Starting from the time the little kids turned 2, my faith started to grow and became personal to me. And I began writing prayers, in essence, my own letters to God. I bet God's really eager to read those letters. In my journal, as an expression of faith. When the little kids were born, we just needed God to show up and provide for us. Yeah, it's really putting it on God for that one. Yeah. And really, the only way she could, apparently, provide her children is to have a reality show. That's it. And that's okay, because that's God's plan. It wasn't until 2 years later that I realized and understood that He wanted a unique and personal relationship with each of us. He created each of us uniquely, and we all matter to Him. Our needs, our wants, and desires are all important to God. I could have done fertility treatments for years, and if it wasn't His plan for us to have twins and sextuplets, we wouldn't have had them. Or any kids, for that matter. Maybe the fact that you were infertile meant that God didn't want you to have children. Maybe. I don't know if, like, fertility drugs and making little embryos in petri dishes where it was a part of God's majestic plan. That's actually probably a signal from nature. You two, no, do not procreate. Okay, do not merge your DNA on this planet. But no, it's all about God and God's plan for her. The best part of the book is a chapter called Tower of Babel, in which she describes how frustrating it was to have 6 little children learning to speak at the same time. Oh, another thing, she makes her children call her same mommy, because when she eventually, she lives in a different city than her children, and she just sees them once a week now. And so when she moved to New York, when her kids would see her, they would say, "You're not the same, Mommy." And she said, "No, I am. I'm same Mommy." And she makes them call her Same Mommy. It's so messed up. Okay. This book is amazing. Are you ready?
Yeah.
In our house, when everyone started talking, it was like the Tower of Babel, a noisy Tower of Babel. Everyone was trying to be heard. But when I couldn't understand 8 out of 10 words, everyone became frustrated. As twins, Maddie and Kara have always been glued together and communicated with each other very well. But when the little kids started talking, they tried to communicate with me, but not really with themselves, aside from Hannah and Leah. Oh, that's another thing, she rants about her kids, like really annoying parents do. And she's trying really hard to think of positive things because her life is so dysfunctional and fucked up. Hannah and Leah were the first talkers, and they translated as well as spoke for the group. Hannah, what does he want? Mommy, he wants milk on his cereal. Maddie and Kara also translated for the little kids. Kara's translation was accurate. Maddie's translation was what she wanted them to say. And she made it sound so good! Exclamation mark. Colin spoke a lot, but I didn't know what language he spoke. It was always sing-songy, with a lot of mommies sprinkled in. Colin had a lot to say, even if I didn't understand it. Alexis also spoke a lot, but she frequently butchered her words, so we couldn't understand most of what she said. She took longer to walk or crawl when she was a baby, so she shrieked when the other kids came up and took her toys. For Alexis, shrieking was a tried and true method that she frequently fell back on. She tried so hard to be understood, but she would quickly become frustrated and then say, "Never mind." Even now, she butchers words sometimes.
Say what?
She'll say, "What did we have for lunch, Mom? That word I can't say. Quesadillas?" Oh yeah. Aiden didn't talk much, and Joel didn't talk at all. Hannah talked so much for Joel. In fact, our pediatrician told me to ask her to stop. I remember one of the first conversations I had with Hannah. One day, she came into the kitchen while I was making dinner and said, "Me boo-boo," while pointing to her back. "Where's your boo-boo, Hannah?" "On my back." "Were you jumping?" "Yes, jump. Mommy, I need cake." Now, she was pointing to the freezer. It took me a minute, but I finally figured out that she needed the boo-boo cold pack shaped like strawberry shortcake. Then, when she put it on her arm, close enough to her back, she said, "Mommy, I loo pity." "You sure do look pretty," I replied as I started to heat up broccoli in the microwave. "Mommy, my nose." "Your nose?" I figured she had another boo-boo. "In my nose, Mommy." "What's in your nose, Hannah?" "Brockies." She smelled the broccoli! I loved their way of communicating at this age. So simple and fun. And they were all so proud of themselves when I understood them. Another time, when I was finishing dressing Joel and Aiden one morning, Hannah came up from the stairs saying, "I need to talk to Mommy! I need to talk to Mommy!" When she finally reached me in the nursery, she said, "Mommy, my Jew cup, I can't like it." She came all the way upstairs to tell me she didn't like her juice cup. In her best British accent, "Can't like it." Leah did like juice, which she referred to as her blue baby. She meant to say blueberry juice. It's so crazy. This was also the time they started telling on each other. At first, I tried to pay attention to all of it, but after so many months, now years, I started making them deal with it themselves. Now, if someone starts a sentence with his or her brother or sister's name, unless there's a bodily injury involved, I hold up my hand and say, "I don't want to hear it, go work it out." Tattling is exhausting. So she hates her kids, hates them. And then the other thing is that she's just so dumb. Like, she's just not a smart person. She goes on to talk about how her communication skills needed to improve because she was basically emotionally abusing John. Like, she was just treating him like crap. And then she goes on to talk about how she started dealing with all the stress of being in the public. So this is what she has to say. "My communication to the outside world also needed to change. I was thoroughly annoyed with fans. With people wanting to see our kids and touch them. At the time, I considered all the fan attention unwanted and an annoyance. I just didn't think through the obvious, that if I put my kids on TV, people would fall in love with them. When viewers of our show would see our kids in real life, it would inevitably be exciting for them. I didn't make the connection that having people who cared, fans, as our show continued, and therefore our job continued. I needed the fans, but I didn't know it." I became aware of what a spoiled brat I was being. When I started speaking and telling our story and getting out in the world alone, I had the chance to look around and see reactions and responses rather than to focus so intensely on my 8 kids. When I would speak in front of an audience and tell them our story, I felt completely supported and loved by the crowd. It was truly amazing, and during my book signings, people waited in line for an autograph with tears in their eyes. They told me their stories in return. I've heard many times, "Kate, you're such an inspiration to me. If you can do it with 8 kids, I can do it with 2. That is so encouraging to me." Suddenly, I noticed a reciprocal supportive bond had formed. I now noticed that my fans had become my inspiration just as much as I was theirs. I truly am grateful for them! Exclamation mark. I started to see the world differently. I realized that all moms are the same. We want the best for our families, and we want to do our best every day. I'm a mom first, like every other mom out there. I still identify with the unshowered stay-at-home mom wearing a dirty t-shirt and sweatpants with her hair that sticks up. Being a mom can be very monotonous. Stay-at-home moms need tons of encouragements, as no one realizes how incredibly difficult each day is. On the other hand, it truly is the most fulfilling job you can ever have.